Welcome, listeners. This will be my first podcast, and I will be covering a very important topic today. First, I will go through a recap of the recent events. So although I do recommend that you give it a listen, I will be posting the time to skip to the portion that everyone needs to hear. I hope that you enjoy. Now, with the intro out of the way, let's get to it. For the past 2 weeks, the world has been held hostage by a virus. Government action forcing us to stay in our homes and hope that this epidemic ends soon and doesn't spell disaster for our lives and economy. Not only has COVID-19 affected many personal, academic, and professional lives, it has also hurt the DCI and WGI communities, and therefore hurt the beloved members and staff of these organizations. On March 12th, 2020, the Board of Directors of Winter Guard International effectively canceled the 2020 season, weeks before the activity's respective seasons were meant to end. 5 weeks for Indo Percussion and Winds, 3 weeks for Color Guard. The championships, intended to be April 15th through 19th for WGI Percussion and Winds, and April 1st through 4th for Color Guard, will now be spent with members and staff at home, without experiencing the final and beautiful competition that their whole season was culminating towards. The event that would have held the joyous and special occasion of being many members' first or last experience in this arena is now as non-existent as that cheering audience, overcrowded lot warm-ups, old friends hugging and getting reacquainted, and the age-out giving that wide-eyed freshman an old stick. The importance of the situation regarding age-outs quickly became the focus of the community, and a decision was reached the day after the cancellation of WGI. The board had decided to give age-outs that were currently members on March 11th, the day before the cancellation, another year. Although everyone lost a championships weekend, the community rejoiced that it was not the last chance for age-outs. But the world is still unfair. Many age-outs have plans concerning education and professional life this following year, and will not be able to return as a result, resulting in the loss of their age-out experience in Dayton. The rookie will now be a vet without experiencing Dayton Arena. That senior just lost his last experience of Scholastic WGI permanently, and worries about auditioning for a WGI line that has no age-outs. But one of the most disappointing occurrences for many was that many groups didn't even get to perform one last time after learning at the end. Some groups frantically searched, and some did find a spot for a last performance. But for most of the members, the show the previous weekend was their last, unbeknownst to them. But COVID-19 was not finished with the marching arts yet. On March 25th, another unanimous vote by the marching community brought a halt to the 2020 Drum Corps International Tour. After many corps canceled their March and April camps, it became clear that this season was not meant to be, especially with more and more quarantine measures being implemented by the government. What WGI endured was now happening to DCI, except the season had barely even started. Many corps didn't even have their full list of members and were still contracting spots. Age-outs are now having to seriously contemplate their previous plans for next summer, as their last chance in Lucas Oil was ripped away. Rookies that were looking forward to their first season in their group now question if they were ever really in it this season. And staff are now wondering how to get their corps ready for this next season. But even with all these negatives happening, I see something beautiful happening in the activity. Something I've never seen on this large scale in any community. The entirety of the marching community is crying together, talking through their experiences with one another, and even rejoicing that they had the experiences that they did this year at all. It's made me realize something valuable and precious. We are all so lucky to have this activity in our lives at all. Even with the loss of the activity for this year, we still have all the friendships that were made throughout the years. and we have still been changed for the better by this wonderful community. We still have our band homes in our hearts, and we can still be thankful for all the experiences that we've made thus far. This is not the end of this amazing activity. It will still affect thousands to millions of people for years to come. It will still help its members become better musicians and people throughout grueling yet rewarding experiences. It will still attract some of the best people in the world to be on staff for little pay. It will still inspire freshmen searching drum corps on YouTube for the first time. It will still be the sport of the arts, and it will carry its message of growth for the youth of the world on display. To help convey what this wonderful activity has done for the world, I have asked for stories from various individuals. I asked for their stories in the activity, what it has done for them, and what it ultimately means to them. I hope that the listeners of this podcast can take these stories to heart and draw inspiration from the tiny details to the big themes that these amazing people pick. Person number 1. For my marching career, I've quite literally started at the bottom and worked my way to the top. 2017 was my first season marching independent summer band, and it was with a smaller DCA organization, Carolina Gold, that didn't end up making finals that season. Even though we didn't have competitive success, I personally grew a lot through the experience. Without that season, I doubt that I would have made it thus far in the activity. I spent this past season at Carolina Crown, and it was definitely surreal receiving my contract for my dream corps. I saw DCI for the first time at Drum Corps at the movies in 2015. Inferno was my favorite show that night, and continues to be my favorite for this day. But after the performance, I thought to myself, I'm going to do that, and I will be on that field one day. And now, here I am. It was amazing to accomplish this goal that I've been working towards for the past 4 years. After marching through different levels of the activity, one thing that really strikes me is how like-minded all of the members, no matter where you end up. Everyone that I've ended up marching with has been incredibly driven, compassionate, and down for a good hang. No matter what the level of performance, everyone makes sacrifices to be there on the floor, and it is inspiring to hear how we all ended up in the same place doing this band thing. I feel the passion and sacrifices that members have for this activity are what makes up such a homogenized culture within DCI, WGI, even when we are geographically widespread. It's pretty neat to know that I could travel to the literal other side of the country, from the East Coast, and still be vibing with other performers. I've never been a part of anything before where there's a group of people this large that are both unapologetically themselves and also accepting that in others. And it's really refreshing. Alright, person 2. I feel like I would be absolutely nowhere in life without marching band and drum corps. Marching band taught me to be strong, and no matter what, I could get through anything. Then I joined Color Guard, and my love for the activity grew so much. That's when I realized I loved performing. The only reason I went to the high school I'm currently in is because I looked up to the marching band in middle school so much that I couldn't bear not doing it myself. I joined DCI this summer going into my junior year, 2019, and from that, my love for the activity and performing grew more than I ever thought it could. I learned dedication, strength, and I found my ability to always do better, even if I don't think I have it in me. The friendships I've made through the marching arts are nothing like I've made before, and I'm so proud to say I am involved in them. Coming back to Color Guard at my high school was so much fun after a season of drum corps. I was always called out for my performance levels, and I got way better at dance than I thought I would. And even though I spent the whole summer on flag and dance line, my rifle and saber technique got so much better, and I'm so proud of myself. This activity makes me feel like me, and without it, I'm kind of going a little bit crazy. But I'm always practicing and trying to get better. I also became a teacher for my middle school guard, and I feel like I was made for this art. It's truly changed my life. Story 3. Growing up, I lived in a very unstable home, and I was always looking for ways to escape my house. Still am, a skateboarder, and when I was younger, I'd leave on my board every day and get into trouble with my friends just to escape and forget. I felt very alone and lost. I was trying to do anything I could to fill my time and leave. One day, in 8th grade, the band director from my high school came to the middle school to talk to the kids about 8th grade night. Essentially, 8th grade night is where all the 8th graders from the theater middle schools get to play stand tunes with the band during a football game. And then after, we got to watch them perform. This sparked curiosity in me, just to see what this drumline stuff was about. And as a drum set player to begin with, all I wanted to play were quads. So I tried it. At first, band was just about getting better at drums and being the escape that I needed for my life at home. But the more years, seasons, and just life that went by, the more I realized why band was so good for me. Band gave me a family when I felt like I couldn't rely on my own. It helped me out of a lot of trouble, and it gave me a positive outlet to spend my energy and emotion on, instead of being a destructive outlet, like being an angsty skateboarder with daddy issues. Band showed me, even though you're not related to someone by blood, they can still be your family, because family goes way deeper than that. Family is who you can count on at the end of the day to lift you up and push you in a positive direction. I'm not currently marching anymore. I intend to march again when it's possible, due to some health complications. But for my 8 seasons of band, I can tell you I don't regret a single second I've spent with a drum on my back, because that's what has built me into the person I am today. Story number 4. My marching arts story is this. Growing up, I started playing drum set at an early age. When I saw the Drumline movie as a little kid, I was immediately in love with it. I always looked forward to high school, where I could finally join the marching band because my school hyped it up so much. My drum set teacher, who marched Crossman, taught me snare drum rudiments and exercises and got my chops up, so I would be prepared if I ever marched. When high school came, I was so excited, and I put everything into the audition. Although I was the best in my grade, and the grade above me, since nobody else ever took music seriously in my school, I was extremely short for my age and looked nothing like an 9-year-old. That led the high school teachers to believe I was immature and could not handle marching with the drum. I was put in the front ensemble, but by the time auditions came around again, I had proven to them that I was mature and a good player, and I had earned a spot on the Snare line. Next story. I was the first person at my school to go from front ensemble to snare without playing a bass drum first. I started watching DCI videos on my phone and thought that they were the coolest thing ever. I watched videos of the cadets and thought that they looked like superheroes, and I wanted more than anything to be one of them. I started learning traditional grip because I had never learned it before. I didn't realize how hard it actually was, or how bad I was at the time, but I heard that the cadets had a theater corps called Cadets 2, and went to a combined audition of the cadets and Cadets 2. I was just starting to learn traditional at this time, and failed miserably. I then auditioned at Fusion Corps the next week, and failed at that too. I got a text from my friend a few months later. There's this new DCI open class called Encore. They needed a snare drummer. I immediately went to the camp that weekend and got the spot, since I had been grinding and got a lot better. That season made me a much better player, and me and my friends made plans to audition for Jersey Surf. I had been working really hard and had been improving fast, but my parents did not support me marching drum corps for the entire summer, and since I am only 16, I cannot drive myself or pay tuition. I could not audition, and I feel like I could have possibly made it if I did, or at least gotten better and learned a lot from it. Around this time, I had heard that the snare tech from Encore was a coordinator of WGI group called Aftermath Percussion. Me and my friend went to the camp and we both got contracts, but my parents would not let me accept it for March this season. I have been grinding ever since, and I have plans to audition a few places next season. I am only 16 and I have a lot of time, so I might as well get as good as I can right now and prepare for what awaits me. I love drumming, whether it's drum set or snare drum, and it has gotten me out of some dark places. I can't wait to March TCI and fulfill my dream. For now, there's only one thing I can do, and that is getting better. Next story. I got into color guard at the end of the 8th grade because my best friend at the time somehow talked me into auditioning. I wasn't interested at all, and I wasn't even sure what it was, but I loved her so I was like, I'll try it. After making the team, I instantly fell in love and stayed with it for the past 11 seasons. I think part of the reason I enjoy this activity so much is because of the endless opportunities of self-expression and artistry. It gave me a home away from home, and quite literally gave me a home this past season after getting kicked out. My director let me stay with him and his family until I was back on my feet. I've never met a more supportive community, and I've made so many lifelong friends. It's a way for me to escape that's going on in my crazy brain, because in rehearsal or when I'm practicing, I can devote 100% of my energy towards color guard, and I've never had anything else do that for me. I've gotten quite a lot out of this activity emotionally, but also like real world. I've gotten many job opportunities, scholarships, and more. I truly do not know what I would be without color guard or the people that I've met through it, and I am forever grateful that my little 13-year-old best friend dragged me to auditions because it has taken over my life and has changed me for the better. Alright, those are all the stories that I will read for this podcast. But I just want everyone to know that this activity is really something special. It's special to each and every one of us. Even though this year hasn't really been the best, and there's been a lot of downs, but I really want everyone to really think about the things that you've gained from this activity, how it shaped you, all of the friends that you've made, and I want you guys to keep that in mind, because this activity will go on. This community, we're healing together. We're healing through this, and we're all gonna get through this. This next season will come by faster than you think, and I think everyone is very much ready for it. Everyone in the activity is going to grieve right now. We're gonna cry together, we're going to comfort each other, and this is a hard time. We shouldn't ignore the time that we're going through. We shouldn't ignore the feelings that we're feeling. It's okay to be sad, it's okay to be angry at the world, but it's really valuable to just realize that this activity is amazing and it's waiting for us after this time has passed. So I just want everyone to keep that in mind. Be sure to get better throughout this break. Be sure to look forward to the future. I have all the love in the world for this activity and for all of you. Okay, that is all. Tune in next time.